Welcome back, part 3, inventories. We are going to continue with FIFO, calculating cost of goods sold and inventory using the FIFO inventory method. And remember, you do not have to match the physical flow of goods to the cost flow of goods. You can use an earlier, older cost first if you choose. You can use a more recent cost first if you choose. You just must be consistent. So for these next 3 examples, we're going to look at a bike shop. I want you to imagine a bike shop that only buys one kind of bike, a yellow beach cruiser. You buy them in large quantities at different times, and you buy them at different price points. So I want you to imagine that this company on June 2nd had a beginning inventory of 500 bikes, which they had paid $100 a bike for. Beginning inventory in June is $50,000. During the month of June, they make 2 more purchases of bikes. The first purchase for 400 bikes, the second purchase for 350 bikes. So the total of their June purchases is $95,500. And the total bikes that they had available for sale was 1,250 bikes at a total cost of $145,500. Now at the end of June, they count how many bikes they have left, and they have 250 bikes. So they say, we know we sold 1,000. So the question is, what do they use for the cost of those 1,000 bikes that they sold? Unit costs can be assigned to costs on hands using one of 3 methods: FIFO, LIFO, or average costs. And we're going to start with FIFO, first in, first out. FIFO assumes that the earliest units purchased are the first units sold. FIFO is how you calculate cost of goods sold with the oldest units purchased. FIFO leaves the most recently purchased items in ending inventory. And ending inventory is valued at the most current cost, replacement value. FIFO most closely resembles how you actually physically move inventory that might spoil. Remember, these are just cost flow methods, not how you actually move inventory. But sometimes it's good to visualize that when you think of FIFO. FIFO is a good practice for the physical flow of goods, particularly with things that might spoil: produce, milk, meat. And I'm sure we've all been this woman in the dairy section of the store looking for the newest milk, which stores tend to put at the back, right? We want to buy the newest milk. Stores try to sell the oldest milk first, but customers want to buy the youngest milk, the newest milk. Okay, let's go back to our example. So here's the same facts that were on the other slide, and we're trying to come up with cost of goods sold of the 1,000 bikes. So using FIFO, we have to account for 1,000 bikes that were sold. Using FIFO, we're going to go back to this oldest cost layer. These are called cost layers: June 2nd, June 8th, June 25th, because they are at 3 different cost points: 100, 125, and 130. Okay, so we're going to use up this first cost layer. We're going to use up the second cost layer, and we're going to dip into the third cost layer for only 100 to make our 1,000. So let me show you that. How do we calculate cost of goods sold for these 1,000? We use up the cost layers until we hit 1,000 units, and we use those cost layers cost. So the oldest cost layer was $100 a bike, so we throw 50,000 into the pot. Then we have to go to the next cost layer to 125. So we throw another 50,000 in the pot, 400 times 125. And this last cost layer, it had 350, but we only need 100 to get to our 1,000. So we only need to add 13,000. So here you go. Cost of goods sold for the 1,000 units using FIFO is 113,000. Ending inventory is what is left, what is unsold. So let's look at that last cost layer, that 350. We only used 100 units of it. So the 250 bikes that are left are going to be valued at $130. So 250 times $130 equals $32,500. Cost of goods sold using FIFO is $113,000. Ending inventory using FIFO is $32,500. And we use the oldest costs first. That ends the FIFO discussion. Next video is part 4, average cost.